years, and it's just like survival of the fittest over here. Yeah. That's fun. Okay. She said, let me sit back here. So did you have? Yeah. It wasn't like. Yeah. It's off right now. All right, well, good morning, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us this morning for our first parent copy of the school year. We are also streaming live, so thank you to everybody who is joining us virtually. We are here today to talk about preventing and responding to mistreatment, bullying, and harassment. So a couple of things we're going to start with. We're just going to do some introductions. Then we're going to go through an overview of what is mistreatment, bullying, and harassment, and how are they different. And then we're going to talk about prevention and intervention. There'll be Q&A time, and then there will be a reflection activity. So that's kind of what our morning is going to look like. So thank you again for being here, but we will start with introductions. I'm going to start with the folks that will be presenting to you today. And then when we go around the tables, we're just going to say, share your name and the grade level of your students. So good morning, I am Dr. Pushak Ridgway. I am the principal here. I did just get married on Friday. So the whole name change is, I'm going to do the hyphen so people can still call me Dr. Pushak, but my official name will eventually be Pushak Ridgway.
So you're spending your honeymoon here?
I'm going. No, thank you. I am going to Italy over spring break. I don't want to miss more school. Sorry, I'm dedicated. But then I'll pass it over to Morgan to introduce herself.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Morgan Huey, and I work in central office. I'm one of the school counseling coordinators, so I oversee and support all of our elementary school counselors in the district. Thank you all for being here today.
Good morning. My name is Cheryl Shotwell. I'm one of the school counselors here. I do first grade, fourth grade, and fifth grade.
Good morning. I'm Mrs. Smith, and I'm working primarily with K, second, and third grade as their school counselors.
Mrs. Painter, we call you out.
Hi, everyone. Jen Painter. Nice to see everyone this morning.
All right, so just your name and the grades of your students. So we'll start right here.
Jatinder Khosla, my daughter Arya is a first grader in the class.
Robin Martin. My daughter is fourth grade.
Erica Klein, I have been in fourth grade and I've been in kindergarten.
Kelly Hill, I have a son in third grade.
Thomas Hill, he's in
What she said.
Shay Herring, Aaliyah is my daughter. She is in third grade. Tanya Switch, she's in fifth grade.
Yeah, Shirwani, my daughter Rosa, she's first grade with
Say Maggie.
I'm Sona, my son is Ivan, he's in kindergarten.
I'm Bianca, I have a son Lorenzo in first grade and a daughter Elizabeth. Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Wendy in the middle grade, so Megan, she's at the first grade.
Hi, I'm Hershey Lipton. My daughter is Anaya. She's in kindergarten. That's my husband, Keisha.
Thanks, they're report you, right?
Hi, I'm Tisha Galliot and my daughter Alexandra is in
Bianca Sala and Matthew is in fourth grade.
Elise Gaucho, Dean in third grade, and Bryn in the in seventh grade. Danielle Ferreira, my son Michael is in kindergarten.
And Juan Carlos Or, I have a son in fifth and fourth grade with Matias and Benjamin in first grade.
Again, thank you guys so much for being here. This is a really important topic for us to cover. Obviously, I'm not sure if you're aware, but October is Bullying Prevention Month. So it kind of aligns with all the things that we're doing in our school right now, as well as kind of the initiative for the month. So what we're going to start with is just the overview. So the reason that we're doing this, why is this important at Lowe's? So throughout our school, we're always making decisions by using our data. So we really dove into our data this past summer, and this was kind of something that continued to come up as an area of concern from both parents and from students. So essentially, at the end of each school year, we asked every parent to fill out a survey about Lowe's Island, and then we do the same thing with our students. And so what I have up here is this top one says, my child feels safe from bullying at this school. So if you look here, this was from the last school year. 76% of parents say that their child feels safe from bullying at school. The previous school year, it was 82%. So that's a significant drop. To drop 6% in that area is kind of a red flag for us, which is why we feel that we need to take steps to address this, educate our parents, and continue to work with our students around this topic. These are responses from our student survey. So it says bullying is a problem at the school. So over half of our students that completed this survey believe that bullying is a problem here at Rose Island. This one is promising. I have stopped bullying when I've seen it at school. So 61% of our students say that they have been an upstander, is what we call them, and stopped bullying or attempted to stop bullying here at Rose Island. And then, did the teacher or adult help to stop the bullying? 62% of students said that yes, they did. So this is kind of the data behind the why. Why is this information important? Why is it important for our parents and our families to understand the difference between all of these things? And then at the same time, we are also doing additional education with our students to make sure that they understand the differences and that we can continue to put supports in place so that our students feel safe at school and that we can see our survey results change. Any questions on the data?
This is amazing. Thank you.
Yes.
Is it, so the three pie charts, those are students?
Those are, yeah,
Okay.
no,
Okay.
it's only, Ms. Shotwell, this was third, fourth, and fifth,
Okay.
correct?
Yes, third, fourth,
So
and
it's
fifth
only
graders.
third, fourth, and fifth. We do collect data on K2 reporting, like if students report the bullying,
Got
but when they do the student surveys, it's a little bit higher level thinking, so yeah, so
Thank you for that.
yes, thank you for clarifying that, absolutely. Another question?
Yeah, I just have a question.
Same question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Just similarly,
Yeah.
are they given the same definition for bullying? Are they including harassment, mistreatment of any kind?
So the harassment and mistreatment does not show up in the student survey. We don't create that survey. It comes from LCPS, but they are provided lessons around what are the differences. So that is something that we're diving a little bit deeper into this year as a school. And we're involving our United Mental Health team in that initiative to create some additional lessons around these terms because, you know, typically in October, our school counselors are presenting the bullying lessons and going through what is it, how do you stop it, what are the definitions, all of that. And what we tend to see in our data in October is an uptick in bullying reports. They're not always founded to be bullying, and I think you're going to kind of see that come out today when they're going through the information. But October usually tends to lead to an uptick just because, well, you told me that that's bullying. So lots more clarification throughout the school year instead of just focusing on it in October is kind of what we're trying to do here at Rose Island, to have that continued conversation.
For the kindergarten and the first graders, do you guys actually, do they have some sort of knowledge what it is? Or is there some sort of counseling or something done to explain to them what that is? and what-
Ask them what this means, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
Repeat
Oh,
it, yeah. What are the 3 parts of bullying? You know, we have a second step curriculum, and you actually have access to some of that information. We have parent portal, parent handouts. You can go to second step. There's a code that we sent out in our bullying letter that you can access the second step curriculum and look at it. And then we put it in Schoology. So if you look in your child's Schoology course, I think I need to update some of mine and as well. And there's parent handouts, so you can see what language we're using. It's the 3 R's. Can you report bullying? Can you recognize bullying? Can you refuse bullying? We have posters throughout the building.
We do, and you can also, if you use your parent code, you can see what we show them. There's a video that shows them what it looks like, how you should respond to it. We stop in between the videos, we ask them questions, we give them examples. They also get chances to practice. Hey, how do you use your strong assertive voice to tell someone to stop bullying? We practice that in the class, in the lessons. So they are exposed to it starting in kindergarten.
A quick question, based on the data. In general, do you know which year maybe there's a peak of the bullyingness, like from kinder, first, second, third, and fifth? Is there any evidence that might just, let's say, when the kids get older, obviously they might behave differently than versus kinder. Do you have some indication of maybe just equal across all fifth grade?
We haven't broken it down that into that in-depth.
Especially with the younger grades. With the older students, they fill out like a Google survey, a Google form, and they're able to answer the questions. But one hasn't been created yet for kindergarten. And, you know, they're still learning how to use their Chromebooks, how to get on there. So, I mean, it's something we can definitely think about. It would just look differently for them to get that information.
Are you saying like when the bullying
Yeah, when-
starts?
Yeah, exactly, when it's like.
I mean, my experience, it was either second or third grade.
Second or third. okay.
Yeah,
I mean, that was just like,
I think that's when they're really starting to learn their
exactly.
independence and they want to start giving their voice out, and that's when it happened for us.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Have there been any trends like downwards, bullying? I mean,
As far as the reporting goes, no, but, and then if you look at our data, you know, the drop of 6% is pretty significant. And that's coming from a parent perspective, you know, which is part of the reason that we really wanted to have today's coffee, was to make sure that all the parents kind of had an understanding of what are the different terms that we're using when we're looking at, you know, students that might be being mistreated or somebody's being unkind to them. When does it really switch into being classified as bullying? So that's kind of what we're going to jump into next. And please obviously keep the questions coming. We appreciate that insight. I appreciate the additional thoughts about have you dove deeper into the data, and we will definitely consider looking at that for this school year. So thank you for that. But at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn you over to Morgan, and she's going to take you through some stuff, and then Ms. Shotwell and Ms. Smith.
And so the big thing that we want to also stress is that all three are not okay, right? It's not okay for students to mistreat other people, to bully, or to harass. But it's important to understand the definition of all three, because sometimes a lot of it falls in this mistreatment. So everything kind of falls under mistreatment. A small percentage is bullying, and an even small percentage of harassment. And so the big thing that we're pushing with our students and with our families is understanding the difference and knowing that if your child is being mistreated, it is taken seriously at Rose Island. So it's to report it early. Bullying is when it switches over to that repetitive over time. So if we could stop it at the mistreatment level, then we're going to have a lot more healthy and happier kids. So what mistreatment is I hate to use the word ordinary, but it's that ordinary teasing, horseplay, arguments. If you have two siblings at home, I do, and they bicker with each other, often over attention and wanting different toys, is that typically not repeated or prolonged, and it doesn't cause that fear or severe emotional trauma. So it's not preventing the child from maybe wanting to come to school. The other thing I want you to note is I'm going to explain stuff K-12. So you know through their whole LCPS career, here's what we're doing in the district, and then we'll dive into what it looks like at Rose Island. So again, that mistreatment is kind of not meeting that criteria. It's still not okay. There still is no tolerance for it, and your admin and Unified Mental Health team are going to respond and support your child through that. The next level is bullying. And I have to share that when I was in the schools as a counselor, one of the kids is like, well, bullying must be a problem because we're always taught it. And it's like, no, we're teaching it to you so you know how to recognize it. It's not that it's a problem, it's how we're going to support you if it does happen. So that bullying is that aggressive and unwanted behavior. It's that attempt to harm or intimidate or humiliate. It involves that power imbalance. So maybe it is a physically bigger kid, or it's an older kid, or it's a kid that has something that the other kid doesn't. And it's that repeated over time. Ms. Smith shared that over and over. That's how the little kids know. It's not just a one-day thing. It's not even a two-day thing. It's that every single day. It's that constant, repetitive, mean behavior. And it's causing that severe emotional trauma. Maybe a kid is now afraid to go to an after-school care, to go sit in a certain seat. That's when it bumps up to bullying. And then harassment, now again, we're not teaching the true definition of harassment in elementary school, but it's important as a parent for you to know. That's when it's dealing with a protected class. So it is when it is someone is saying something or targeting someone based off of a protected class. For example, their national origin, their religion, gender, disability, their age. It's prohibited by law. So this is legal. For bullying, going back to bullying, we have LCPS policies in place. Part of that is education, and then how we respond to it when it does happen. And then for mistreatment, for all of it, There is support provided to your administration on different disciplinary infractions based off of what happened. So there are structures in place to support our students so that when everyone feels safe and heard in the building. So now that we got a brief overview, we're gonna do a Kahoot. Have any of you heard of Kahoots from your children? So what it is it's an online game. The kids love it. I actually do it with my 4-year-old to get him to do activities because that's how you incentivize children is with games. So what the Kahoot is you're gonna use your phone if you feel comfortable. You're gonna come up with a name. We always have to tell the kids a school appropriate name, or they have emojis. And there's gonna be different questions about if the statement is mistreatment, bullying, or harassment. You guys ready to play? And then if you go home and tell your kids you did a Kahoot, you'll be the coolest person that day. So I'm going to pull up the Kahoot. So if you go on your phone, there's going to be a QR code, or you could go to Kahoot, www.kahoot.it, and then you enter in the game pin, or you can use the QR code. It is 828293.
www.kahoot.com.
It. Had to keep it fancy. And the game pin is 828293. The emojis got way cooler. They used to not be as cool. So while you're logging on, there's going to be a statement, and this statement is it's going to ask you if it's mistreatment, bullying, or harassment. On your device, it will show it'll show a shape and a color. The response answer will be up here, so I'll read it out loud. Just think from a general standpoint, so we can see if we understand the difference between mistreatment, bullying, and harassment. Inside bully, I like that name. All right, does anyone need more time to get on? And you can do free Kahoots at home. Family game night. Yes.
How do you do this without a phone though? Because little kids aren't gonna.
So I set up my 4-year-old's device. I set it up for him, and he just picks the color. So he gets really into it. We're all about games in our house to get anything done. Yeah, you could change. I think you could change it, right? All right. We ready to get started? All right. All right, so it's either mistreatment, bullying, or harassment. And so as soon as you know the answer, submit. Making fun of someone's clothing. Is it red mistreatment, yellow bullying, or blue harassment? And as soon as you know the answer, put it in. Making fun of someone's clothing, mistreatment, bullying, or harassment. So this one is mistreatment. Again, it is a one-time thing. It is not a protective class, so that would make it mistreatment. Is it tolerated? No. Is it going to be handled? Of course. So that's where it falls under mistreatment. All right. Yes.
What are the clothes are from for your country?
Great question. I didn't put that. If it is making fun of someone based off of their clothing, based off of their country, then it would bump up to harassment. Great question. And so this is the highlight for the kids, is where they fall on the scoreboard. No one needs to announce if they're in first place, but if you want to, you should. All right, so yeah, exactly. And you get more points the quicker you do it, but some kids want to quickly do it and then they don't do the right answer. So it's kind of that balance. All right, next question. Making fun of a person every day at lunch based off what food they're bringing home, which is from their culture. Is that red mistreatment, yellow bullying, or blue harassment? All right, so this one is harassment because we're going back to the national origin, the culture, and making fun of a person based off of their food. Again, not tolerated. The other thing I'd like to share is your school counselors come and do diversity and inclusion lessons. We really want to, starting in kindergarten, make sure our kids feel safe and accepted for who they are and embrace who they are. That's what makes us all wonderful. And so we move up and down so it's really. All right, next question. Someone calls you a mean name. Is that mistreatment, bullying, or harassment? Again, not tolerated, but it's mistreatment because it's not repetitive over time. So we encourage our kids to report it, to tell us, to tell the kids to stop. It's important that every kid has a safe person at school that they could go to and at home that they could go to when situations happen. Ice climbers. All right, you move away from someone every time they try and sit or work with your group. Is that mistreatment, bullying, or harassment? So every time a little kid comes over, they're moving away. So that's when it gets to bullying, because it's every time. Now, the big caveat with this is sometimes we do ask kids to separate from each other. So if kids are having a conflict, we don't encourage everyone to be best friends with everyone, just like we're not best friends with everyone. But we encourage everyone to be kind to everyone. If it's the case of we're separating two kids, the teachers know and they're making sure that we're supporting that. But if the kid is just generally not wanting to be with other kids, how is it going to make that little kid feel when every time they're going to the group and the group disperses? And so that's why we want to make sure every kid treats each other kindly. All right. Any questions? You guys having fun? I know you're doing good this morning. All right, somebody pushes you down. Is it mistreatment, bullying, or harassment?
Just once?
Just once. Someone pushes you down. Great question. And that leads to mistreatment. If they push you down one time, not okay. The kid would be seen by the nurse. You would be notified, all of the things, but it's not to the level of bullying or harassment.
So what if I put mistreatment and it said no? I said it was wrong.
Well, then I don't know what's happening with your Kahoot, but there's no, you're not getting pinged or anything based off your answer. No one knows who put what. You know you got the right answer. That's what matters.
It is glitchy sometimes.
All right. Telling someone every day they don't have any friends. Is that mistreatment, bullying, or harassment? And we're coming up with just generic ideas just to kind of help understand the difference. Again, this one is bullying because it's that every day telling someone that they don't have friends, thinking about how that other person feels. All right, 2 more questions. Student A repeatedly tells student B they can't do something due to their gender, and student B switches classes. Mistreatment, bullying, or harassment? You guys were quick on this one. So this one is harassment. It is a true story. This was a secondary robotics class. A girl was told, you can't do it because you're a girl, and switch classes. Ended up being an IT major, so show them who's boss, really. But that's why it's important that we're, again, embracing everyone. We're showing different role models. We're showing our kids that they can be who they want to be, and no one can kind of hinder that. All right, last question, and then we'll see who's on the leaderboard. Someone hits or punches you. Is that mistreatment, bullying, or harassment? So it's mistreatment. It could be assault too. Yes. Yeah.
They're 18 months apart and they're all.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's why it's important to just know the difference and tell our kids, mistreatment is not allowed either. But sometimes kids want to jump to bullying, and then we unfold it and realize it's not bullying. It's still not okay, and here's how we're going to support you. So I think that's the biggest message. And on your sheet, you'll have the difference between the 3. I've been using it with my husband's an administrator in LCBS too, and we have these conversations all the time of how do we really teach our children. The difference is so they know how to appropriately what they need to get for those different things.
And also to teach them that mistreatment is wrong. Because
Exactly.
when you're an adult, you could mistreat one person once and lose your job. and lose everything.
Exactly. And I used to, especially with this hitting one, I used to always tell my kids, like, if I hit someone, do you know where I would end up? So it's important to realize that it stops here. We're kids, we know we make mistakes, but it's that going through that, what happened, so we can process it. So exactly. Thank you for sharing that. So this is the best part. If you want to announce who was in first place, you certainly can for second and third. But congratulations to whoever got first, second, and third. It is, they definitely do a production for it. So I'm like plugging in Kahoot. I should work for them next. Okay. So what the next few slides I'm going to share is what prevention and intervention looks like globally in LCPS. And then Ms. Shotwell and Ms. Smith are going to share what it looks like at Lowe's Island. So all LCPS schools follow PBIS, the Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports, and Social Emotional Learning. So our PBIS system is kind of improving our overall climate. Each school has a matrix and how we support what the expectations look like in different areas of the building, how we strengthen relationships with the overall goal, right? Decreasing office referrals and increasing kids feeling safe. So this is something universal that actually all Virginia schools follow. SEL, social emotional learning, is that morning meeting time that our students have. So that's when they're learning the skills of self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. In elementary school, that's in morning meeting. In secondary, it is advisory period, so when they go to the middle school and high school. And then our school counselors are kind of that extra support. So in elementary school, they do the lessons on recognizing, reporting, and refusing bullying through our second step curriculum, which is an evidence-based curriculum. They also provide personal social lessons bi-weekly, and then October is our bullying prevention month that we're in right now. In middle school, they continue the lessons with second step, so building on that foundational knowledge, and they kind of step it up a little bit more in middle school, talking about cyberbullying and healthy relationships. Because unfortunately, that's when kids like each other. So we got to make sure that we're giving them those foundational knowledge. And then in high school, it takes a little switch and it's more peer-to-peer, student to student, because we find that students in high school, they rather listen to each other than a grown-up. So how can they work together? And so we have different organizations such as peers and sources of strength for students to collaborate and support each other. And then the family piece, that is key. So having presentations during the month. I'm on a road show. You guys are my third school that I'm coming to present with. And then also resources on the school website. So every school website has resources for bully prevention, as well as LCPS school counseling has resources available as well. So this is just generic for the district. I'll wait for some pictures. Not a man, hopefully. And then what it looks like at Lowe's Island, I'm going to switch it over to your counseling team.
Thank you. Righty, so on this side so I can see. Alrighty, so we've already started our monthly bullying lesson. So our students get 3 lessons throughout the month of October. Kind of goes into a little bit of November because of how the days work, but they get lessons on recognizing bullying, what it is. That's when they learn the definition of what it is, what it looks like. And then the next lesson is how do I refuse it? Okay, I recognize it. And Shotwell, Ms. Smith, how do I refuse it? What do I do? With the younger grades and even the older grades, they get a chance to practice what that looks like. How can I refuse bullying? How should I refuse bullying? How should I, we even go as far as, hey, head up, shoulders back, make sure you're looking at them, make eye contact so that they know you're serious. Use your strong voice so they know, hey, I want you to stop it. And so we literally go step by step with them, starting in kindergarten all the way up. Recognize, refuse, and then reporting. We also show them, hey, how can you report bullying? We go through the different steps. There's different ways. We have for the 3rd through 5th grade, an I need to see the counselor form that's located in their guided Schoology account. So if they feel like they're being bullied, but they're afraid to just walk up to one of us and tell us, they can fill that form out. It immediately comes to both of our email, and either one of us can respond. Because not all students are brave enough to get up and either raise their hand and tell their teacher, I'm being bullied. So for 3rd through 5th grade, they can do that through their Schoology account. For our younger grades, they can report to their teachers, or even if they see us in the hallways. I always tell my students, if you want to write me a note and just hand it to me when you see me in the morning, I'll get that and I'll see it. If you're not ready to go to your teacher. Or if they are comfortable with their teachers, they can report to their teachers. And the teachers have a bullying reporting form that they complete that also comes to us as well. Let's see. Something new, Dr. Bushak mentioned earlier today that we're gonna, usually just during the month of from October to a little bit of November, we do the bullying lessons, but that's kind of it. So this year we're gonna try something different, and we're gonna have 2 bullying lessons. In addition to what Ms. Smith and I are gonna do, we're gonna have 2 bully prevention lessons that are gonna be taught by teachers. So there's a few, there's morning meeting, and a few of the morning meeting days where they do SEL, they did just a smaller activity that day. Well, in those areas, we plugged in 2 bullying lessons per month for every other week. So the teachers are gonna be teaching extra bullying lessons. So far, we have them planned out through December. And the first lessons they're gonna get is mean behavior versus bullying behavior. And again, this is in addition to what Ms. Smith and I are already doing. The second lesson they'll get will be responding to mean behavior with iMessages. I don't like when you do that to me. I don't like when you say that to me, showing them how to use that wording and giving them the skills to use it. And the next one will be being assertive when responding to mean behavior. And again, we go through the examples. If you're talking to a friend and your head is down and you're whispering like this, are they going to know what you're saying? Are they going to take you seriously? So we show them and then give them examples and model for them and give them a chance to practice. What does that look like? How do I stand up and speak up for myself? And as we're still in the planning stages, so we haven't planned out through winter break, and we're still planning for the rest of the school year. But starting in November all the way through June, they'll get 2 extra lessons a month.
And there is an additional 4th lesson, the power of the bystander. And really empowering students, hey, you're our watchers. We can't see everything. Your parents have eyes in the back of their head. They see everything. But we can't see everything at school. So I need you to be my watchers. I need you to be looking out for your friends and your classmates. And let us know. If you're not sure if it's mean or bullying behavior, no problem. Tell us.
Let us know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, quick question.
Sure.
Thank you so much for this. It's all like an explicit kind of reporting. What is the sign for being more implicit? Like a kid has been bullied, but has come home, maybe he behaves different. Is there any like a signal that we can be aware and just like watching maybe? Oh, this is the impact of, because I think my daughter, he's not that explicit.
She's not gonna come up and
reporting
say
and come out and say out, but I see the implicit behavior maybe after watching.
Then you can definitely reach out to us parents. Hey, I'm noticing, my daughter, she's not being her usual self. She's not happy when she comes home. Let us know, and that way we know, okay, maybe if we have a conversation.
So what those signals actually?
So, it wouldn't be like a one-step model, but if you are seeing a change in the behavior, maybe they used to be more talkative and they're being more inclusive and reclusive, not really talking, or they're not playing with the same friends. They're not naming the same friends. Hey, did something happen with that group? I'm not saying it's necessarily bullying, but something different may have happened. If you notice a loss of appetite, trouble sleeping, any of those physical signs, those would be alarming for anything. So to get to the root cause, I'm not saying always the root cause is bullying, but anytime you notice a change in your child's behavior, I think reaching out to these wonderful people here would really help to unpack and see what's going on. I think, again, like I said earlier about the friendship. I always ask my son, who'd you play with at recess and who'd you sit with at lunch? Those are great questions to notice trends. And if they're mentioning someone that you thought was a friend and not anymore, maybe the kid moved, but also maybe something else happened. So those questions, and not just a yes or no question, those questions that are forced to give you the answer, not just how's your day, but really who'd you play with and who'd you sit with, will help you kind of see what a snapshot of what their day looks like. And always ask the teacher. You don't always have to just wait till conferences to talk with your teacher. Send them an email and say, hey, can we discuss who they're playing with at recess and what does it look like? Especially the little guys, this is their first experience with baby, and so we want to know who they're interacting with. So you have that ability, and I encourage you to take advantage of that.
And follow your gut. My son was bullied on the bus, but it took 2 weeks for me to kind of figure this out. He was very dysregulated when he would come in, and very dysregulated in the home. But there is something not right. Something is off here. Every day to sit with him, very gently talk to him, and after about 2 weeks, then he said, well, there's some kids being mean to me on the bus. They're calling me a baby. He's in speech. He has a speech problem. So they were very mean to him. And I just quickly called the school. Now, my mama bear didn't want to come out. I didn't want to go down to that bus stop and have a few words, but that would not be the right choice. My career would be over before it started. So I just quickly called the school and said, hey, could you look into this? There's cameras on the bus. We keep little kids separated from the older kids on the bus to reduce those issues now, which is great. And to be clear, my son did not attend Rose Island, so this is a different school. But you can follow your guide. Not every dysregulated child is having a bullying issue, right? But if you have this gut feeling, it's okay to kind of listen to it and kind of get those puzzle pieces and see what happens.
I just have a quick
Yeah.
question for you. So
Yes.
this is a little bit nuanced. So my son has a friend of a specific culture, and they do this thing where it really offends me, and I'm like, that is really offensive. But the kid from the culture also does it, and I'm like, well, this is not right,
Yeah.
you know. And so I talked to my son very specifically, like, you don't do this, but it's confusing because the kid of the culture is also doing it.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
100%, I know,
have a really hard
I
time
have
with that.
examples in my head, so that's what is really important to work with the school team.
I see.
Because sometimes, a lot of times when things happen, especially in that harassment lens, it's a lot of education. Because in elementary school, it's kind of just a learned behavior. They may not know. Sometimes they know the severity of what they're doing, and sometimes they don't. And so, how do we educate them of like, that's not okay? And when you're in the building or when you're interacting with other kids, we need to make sure that we're treating others with dignity and respect.
But it's hard when it's the kid
100%.
of the culture.
And so sometimes we have to really do that education piece at an appropriate level and working with the families. And the thing is, when you report a situation, any situation, know that it's handled at the school. We may not be able to tell you X, Y, Z of what happened because of the other
Oh,
kid.
no, this is not at school. I mean, the kid is,
Got it. Well, feel free to reach out as a thought partner to